So hello everyone and welcome to Epic Battle Fantasy. The first one in the series, because as I checked back, turns out I never actually played the very first one. I played the other ones, but not this one. And that's a bit sad. So yeah. I pretty much know already what I need. I think I do at least. Yeah, we don't need the rest. So, the very first Epic Battle Fantasy was basically just you get some items, you get into a battle, and that's about it. So, you have to fight through a variety of different waves, and what usually happens is you have some waves of just normal enemies, and then after that you have a specific boss for that area. And yeah, I think that's mostly it. After you've cleared an area, then you just go to the next area. And as you can see from my stats, my HP, MP, the damage I'm doing, this game is not really based around leveling up or anything like that. You basically have just the stats of how you are right now, and with that you just have to beat the game. And the thing is, you usually fight a few bosses. Well, not usually, I think the game is very short. You fight 3 bosses or something, and then after that I think you have one more opportunity to shop for items. So you fight some enemies and fight some bosses, and then at the end of that you after 3 bosses, I really don't know how many it is. Was it 4? Anyway, after some bosses, halfway through the game, I think that's the best way to describe it, halfway through the game you get to go to the shop with 7,000 gold, which I think was as much as from the start. I don't quite actually remember how much you had from the start, but yeah. And after that you just go through some more areas with some more bosses, and then the game's over. So it's fairly short, but depending on what difficulty you select, the game might take a bit longer. So I was like, okay, I don't want to make this too long. If the game is not that long, I don't want to make it too much longer by selecting a higher difficulty. So I just went with the normal one. So what I'm usually going to be doing is I'm going to usually set up some defensive buffs like barrier, maybe sometimes protect, which Matt casts. Matt is the guy, and this girl is Natz, I think, like Natalie. So as I set up some buffs, use some attack buff for the main guy, and then I just sweep by using Legend and Judgment, like the best 2 damage spells for each. Judgment even heals Natz, which is really good. That's the first boss down, which is extremely easy and doesn't really do that much. Now, you know, let me just go through some of the abilities you have. So, each character can attack, defend, and use item, obviously. Now, Matt can change between different swords. I just use the sword with the by far highest attack, because on this difficulty I'm just trying to get through the game, and for that the Soul Issue sword is easily the best. And you've got a bunch of physical abilities, most of these at least. So you have some attack that drains HP, hits everyone, Earth Element, Fire Element, Holy Elemental, and Legend. And then you have this caster stuff, so you can bring in more to use a random item. There's 2 buffs, then there's some magic stuff right here, but I'm not gonna use any magic, so this is pretty much pointless. And that's it for him. So usually I just Legend and kill stuff. And that's pretty much all I'm gonna do with him, Legend and buffs. You probably don't ever see me using anything else. Now, Natz, once again, attack, defend, item, white magic. You can heal, heal, poison, seal, the only 2 status effects in this game. You have a defensive buff, then you've got some heals, you've got a revive, and you've got the Judgment, which is a giant nuke and also heals you by a lot. Now, in here, in black magic, we have single target stuff, which you don't really care about, and an AoE nuke that I might use once or twice, I'm not sure about that, but probably nothing from black magic for the most majority of the game. And then summon similar stuff some really interesting spells right here, but I don't know, they're rather specialized, some of them, and I don't really feel like using them too much because they use a ton of MP, especially the good ones use a ton of MP. And some of the Canty, for example, is very random. Catastrophe can like easily kill you instead of the enemy, so just really like specialized stuff here. So most of the time, that's just gonna like use some random white magic stuff, and that's totally fine. He doesn't really need to do anything specific here. Sometimes for the waves before the boss, you might just do some random buffs and stuff, so that you don't go through too many of your resources. So at the beginning of the game you saw me buy a bunch of ethers. Now ethers obviously give me MP, and I'm gonna need a ton of MP to like make it through the game. Because I'm gonna be using a lot of these really powerful abilities that do a ton of damage and everything, but obviously they take a lot of MP off it. So that's gonna be something I'm gonna have to take into consideration. So right now, for example, I'm gonna have him use an ether on himself to make sure that he stays up on his stuff. Finish this guy off next wave. Boss time. Now, he is just gonna heal himself, not heal himself, just gonna buff himself. Now my magic defense buff is fairly fresh because I used it on the wave, so I don't need to worry about that for like the next few rounds. It's really nice, so yeah, that's the very special attack. So the thing about poison is poison can be fairly powerful depending on how far in the game you are. Since I'm fairly early in the game, poison doesn't do too much, so I can like mostly ignore it. Later on in the game, poison will actually do a ton of damage. I think poison actually deals more damage per round as well, so you need to be careful about that. Now usually what I want to happen is I want to have Natz get attacked, because Natz can heal herself while dealing damage. Oh, that was totally pointless. It's because with Natz I usually use Judgment, and Judgment also heals Natz, but Matt can't do anything similar. Well, theoretically he can by using Drain, but it's not that powerful. And I'd like to use my most powerful stuff. But Natz's most powerful stuff, Judgment, also heals herself, so I really like that. Can this guy stop doing that? Yeah, thanks for using so much stuff on her, but I really need the stuff on Nat. I could probably use some Judgment here to finish the boss off, but I'm not quite sure if Nat still takes the poison damage, because if Nat still takes the poison damage, I probably don't want to do it, because then I start the next fight with a dead guy. Which is not that bad, but if I can avoid it, I probably want to. Okay, he wouldn't have died, but anyway. From now on, actually, the regular enemies, as you can see, will be quite a bit more powerful, so something to worry about here. That these ones aren't just, like, fodder. They actually do stuff now. Okay, that he really shouldn't have used that. Whatever. There are a lot of points where I can just do whatever and I can get by with it. If I was playing on high difficulty, I couldn't do that, but yeah. So difficulty in this game is you just play. The higher the difficulty is, the more defensive you play, and that's pretty much about it. And since playing defensively just wastes my fucking time, I decided to just play on normal, so I don't have to play defensively, and I don't have to waste everyone's time, and we can just get through this without wasting time. I really don't like wasting time. Yeah, I really don't. So this is good. By the way, this attack he's doing, this can actually poison me. By the way, right now, since we're in a good spot, I'll temper here. And I think I'll regular attack here. If this wouldn't have killed, it wouldn't have been too bad. So you can also see that these enemies also have health bars that flash up when you attack the guy. Pretty cool, but yeah, you don't have to play that much differently seeing how your enemy's health is. Like, you see right now, the enemy has low health, so I would like just use a regular attack with Matt. But it's not really that important, because the difference between using stuff and not using stuff, for the most case, isn't that big of a deal. It would be more of a big... It's a bigger deal in the higher difficulties, where you have to actually play defensively, so knowing how much health the enemy has so you know when to stop playing defensively can be pretty good, but yeah. Got an antidote, yay. Oh, boss time already, I actually thought we had another round. Ah, whatever. So this guy is probably one of the harder enemies, or bosses actually, in the game, just because he's the first boss that actually has quite a lot of HP, and he has quite some powerful abilities as well. Like he has... Like if you have some defensive stuff up, you probably won't notice it that much. But if you don't have any defensive stuff up, and he hits you with some of his more powerful stuff, yeah, it does hurt quite a lot. So that's something you wanna like make sure you always have something defensive up and have a lot of HP. Though for the most part, shouldn't be too bad. Once again, I'm gonna have to heal this guy, though I really don't want to. Can you stop attacking him and actually attack Natz? The thing is, Natz like, heals herself while she's attacking. But she can't do that if Matt gets attacked, because then she has to heal Matt, which is really sad. Anyway, so we also noticed that sometimes Mog is actually flying in and throwing in random items. The thing is, this guy has this skill for that, it just brings in Mog to use random items, but as it says, it's just sometimes randomly happens by itself, so that's pretty nice. So, we've got some more this going on. Actually, wait a second, I noticed I didn't have my pop filter up. Let me fix that. Okay, that was my pop filter, that should probably be a lot better. Well, look, better late than never. The second part of this game should be way more interesting anyway. The first part is just going through the motions, I guess. Actually not sure if there's like the halfway point after this boss, or if there's more. I'm gonna have to check. I'm gonna see it in a second, if that's actually what's gonna happen or not. Maybe we can just spam our stuff and he probably dies in a second. I actually don't think we're at the halfway point yet. Oh, very nice of you. The thing is about the halfway point is it also fully heals you and gives you all your MP back. So I don't have to worry about giving myself MP back if this is indeed the end of this half. I didn't actually have to heal that much because I didn't use that many powerful abilities. He has some way more powerful abilities, he just didn't use them. Okay, so we are at the halfway point. Okay, I'll sell stuff I don't need, like this and that. Don't need that many, like 4 should be fine. Dial back on those, give me... That should be totally fine. And we're good. You don't actually ever want to save money because this... You don't get... well, the thing is you only get the shop at the beginning of the game and this shop. These are the only 2 shops you get, so saving money makes no sense. So now comes the second half of the game, which we are gonna see in the next part. I'm gonna quickly finish off this wave because the second part of the game is actually a bit longer, so I'm gonna do this. So the next part is not quite as long. Bonk, 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 bonk. And see you guys next time.